Mary O'Malley, it's our joy to welcome you this morning.
Good morning, good morning. And I also want to say that, whenever I come to Edgewood, I know that I am going to be blessed and nourished with beautiful, beautiful music. And I want to thank you all this morning. And Cerny, everything that I'm going to share today is embodied in your smile. So we could just have him come up here and smile, and I wouldn't even need to speak. What do you think? Because in Corinthians it says to us that the greatest of these is love. And that smile, when you let the music just pour through you, you can see that that is love pouring not only through his fingers, but through his very being. And it was Jesus who, in my world, is one of the greatest teachers that have been on this planet and still continues to be. And he only gave us 2 commandments: to love God and to love your neighbor as yourself. And I would like to talk about these 2 commandments this morning. And first of all, we have to explore, what do we mean by the word love? It's not this mushy, I love you, I love you, I love you. Love, Jung calls the coincidence of opposites. Isn't that an exquisite way to describe it? Love is the place where it all comes together and we see the one presence that is in the universe. And this kind of love includes it all. The weak, the strong, the perfect, the imperfect, the easy, the difficult, the joyous, and the sorrowful. That the love he is speaking about doesn't resist or reject the difficult and doesn't hold on to the beautiful. It embraces it all. And that's where we begin to discover oneness. And so then let's look at the word God. Now that's a tricky word. That's a word that has, a million different definitions. Everybody has a different definition. I like the definition that Stephen Levine, one of my core teachers, gives it. He says, I can use the word God because I have absolutely no idea what it means. But there's nowhere that I see it not. Okay? And so we've been in this evolution. Everything is in evolution. Everything, we're going in and out. Are we? Oh, well, I have a big voice. If it goes out, I think you could still hear me. I mean, when you go to bed at night and you walk through your yard and you go into the house, and then you go in the morning to check on your bird feeder or whatever, it's a completely different yard because things have evolved. But most of us don't notice that. And so we have also evolved in our understanding of what that word God means. And at the very beginning, it was this mean and nasty, being that was out to get you. And we had to make human sacrifices to placate this being, or they would destroy our lives. And then we began to mature a bit. And in the West here, it became a white man with a beard sitting on a cloud. And again, if you do it right, then you get to go hang out with him. Isn't that cool? And if you don't, bad news for you, But luckily, we've evolved a little bit beyond that, and many people see it now as a being. They don't personify God anymore. God is just a being. But I think that more and more of us are beginning now to mature into what that word really alludes to. And to me, it alludes to beingness. That God is a verb. That God is whatever that is that animates absolutely everything. Every person in this room has come forth and is an expression of God. Every plant, every bird, every cloud, every piece of concrete, the rug, the air. Remember, there is only one presence. And so we have evolved into this understanding that God is. And the closest word I would use to describe God is love. So Jesus says, love God, which in my world means to open to everything, to bear witness to the full, ongoing expression of Godding. And don't we say it every time we gather together on Sundays? Whether it's there is only one presence, or the prayer for protection, wherever I am, God is. And yet it's easy to forget it, isn't it? It is. And so we're gathered together every Sunday and hopefully during the week to keep on remembering it. It's almost like learning a new language. You know, we've learned the language of separation, that there is God somewhere, and if I do it okay, then maybe I'll get to know God. And we're beginning to learn this language of the heart that says God is right here, right now, and God is love. And yet, we have a tendency to forget that. So Jesus said, love God with all your heart, and love your neighbor as yourself. That was the guidelines that he gave us. Well, is it easy to love your neighbor? What about that boss that criticizes you all the time? Or what about that neighbor whose dog keeps on leaving gifts on your yard even though you've asked him not to? And what about that teenager that is just pushing the boundaries all the time? Or what about Osama bin Laden? Love your neighbor. I don't think he was saying, love the people that you like, but don't love the people that you don't like. How can we do that? And he gave us a key. And the key is those last two words. As yourself. And you know what? They usually get just shuffled off to Buffalo. We don't focus on those two words, but to me, in those commandments, these are the two most powerful words. As yourself. That to love yourself is to begin to see through your eyes. To love yourself is to begin to be able to see people, not from their actions, but to connect with their essence. And we already did it. Namaste.